representatives. The United Australia Party can be the government of Australia if you
Hey mate, how's it going? Long time no see, man. Last time I saw you was bloody... Oh, what was I playing? Must have been Resident Evil. Tusky seems like a lot of information. Yeah, it can get pretty rough. How have you been, Limlom? Keeping alright? Doing okay. I'm just trying to knock out a little bit of study. Stop from typos when I do it. It'll take a break timer. I'm also finishing you. I'm finishing up studying. What do you mean? Master's project for computer science. Oh wow, that's awesome. What's the project you have to do? Feels bad? How can that feel bad? Oh, you mean you've still got a little bit of work to go? I can see that being a little bit rough. What's your final project you have to do? Keep me accountable. Computer science. What is it? Do you have to write a paper, or is it like a practical thing? Pretty cool. Oh, sounds like wifey's getting home. And what level are you studying it at? Is it like at university or high school? What sort of... Writing up my spec sheet, 70 pages. On a website, database, mobile, and working with recognition AI. Oh geez, I hope that's university, not high school. That's awesome, man. Well done. How much have you got left to go? Do a 2-for-1 break here. My wife's gotten home. Go for a help her get a few out before then. Back on. Probably another 40 pages. You're almost halfway. Although, I suspect that the last minute debugging can actually be one of the longer parts, am I right? It's 40 pages. It's longer than anything I've ever written, I think. I'll be back in a minute. I just about back in a tick. Permanent night shift, why?
Like,
Oh, dude, I hate it. Yeah, it's, I don't know, night shifts suck. Night shifts are very tough. It's nice for you. Alright, remember that. Yeah. Yeah. I was just finishing. Yeah. What about it? Happy with how I went?
That car was in the
Yeah.
Jeep. Like I heard in front of the driveway or something. Don't you think? Like, you will.
Just to,
But I'm interested
and then
to
get
see where
shitty
he's gonna
about it.
park. I'm just interested.
Yeah, good point. Where do you
Because he
reckon you
wasn't on
will?
the side.
True, yeah, true. I don't know. Oh, I guess we'll see. But is he normally late? Yeah? Okay, yep. Yeah, no worries. Do you want to do it now or? Okay. Thank you. Such a big cup, I can't get my hand around it. No. Really? Oh, poor boy. Oh yeah, I tried to make it twice, and some young boy kept jumping up on top. hey dude, you're back. I lied, I'm getting McDonald's, the paper can wait. You know, you've got to look after yourself. You need to be nourished if you're going to be able to write all those pages. I think that you're making the right decision. That was 7 pages. How many words is that? I think the longest paper I ever had to write during med school was like 6,000 words. Pages. I don't even know how big that is. Far out. What's your assuming some sort of doctor? Oh yeah, so I've finished my medical degree, doing my specialty training in anesthesia. So I don't know where you're from. So in Australia we're called anaesthetists. It's anesthesiology is the US counterpart, if that's where you're from. At the moment I've just started my advanced training, so it's 5 years post-grad training before you're fully qualified. So I've started studying for my final exam. So the exam's probably about a year. They can just kind of grill you on anything at all. Pretty much anything from, you know, super simple stuff like how a drug works right through to here's this very sick, complex patient. How do you do their anesthetic? Or what I'm looking at now is different like emergencies that can happen, and making flashcards. I learn best with flashcards. So this is my study plan at any rate. Like read through textbooks, make OneNote. This time around it seems to be working well. Like little summaries, copy bits and pieces of information in there, and I make using this Anki program, and then I just go over those again and again and again. If I want to remember something long term, I need to drill it into my brain over and over again. Yeah, I'm in America. Seems rough. Yeah, I don't know. I think the system is a little bit like you have to, first of all, it's a post-grad degree, my understanding. So you do like, 3 years of biology or whatever, and then you do med. Whereas here you can do it as an undergrad. So I finished high school, then went straight to uni, and it was a 5-year medical degree, and it was tough, but it wasn't like, so you rock up, you do a bit of reading and study for the exams, and you'll be not top of the class, but not a disaster. Then the tough bit is getting into what specialties you want to go. So in America, they have like this matching system, whereas here it's a lot less structured. So you can just spend years as a resident and just try and make beelines for the different specialties you want. So like, my path was pretty quick, fortunately. Spent 2 years as a general intern and resident, and then a 3rd year as an anesthetic resident. I managed to pick a job up doing that. And then I got onto the specialty training program 4th year out of university. And then it's 5 years if it all goes well, with 2 big exams and a whole bunch of other small assessments throughout. But if you want to do something like a lot of the surgical programs, as you'd imagine, are pretty competitive. So like I've got a friend he's 6 years out of uni now, still hasn't gotten onto his specialty training program because the jobs are so limited. Those guys have got it really tough. It just depends about what you want to do. Some people, I think this is, for me, it's everything that's good about being a doctor. You can like look after people when they're really sick. You can take away people's pain. You can save people at really critical kind of moments. Without anesthesia, surgicals, people weren't lining up to have operations done willy-nilly back in the day before anesthesia. Hey, Jazz, let me know how far you get. Let me know how far you get. Oh, I thought you were going to help me make it. All right. See ya. How bad is the cost? In America, you pretty much have to accept going far into debt. No, we've got it real good here. So we have a program called HEX Debt, Higher Education something scheme, and so the government pays the uni fee for you, and then you pay them back over time. But the interest rate is incredibly low. It's like, I think it's less than inflation. So it's like 4% or something, 3%. It's super duper low. And then secondly, you only have to pay it back once you earn over a certain amount of money. So if you do like a degree where the compensation at the end of it isn't high, like a lot of the, I know I've got a bunch of friends that have done some arts degrees where they don't go into super high paying jobs immediately. And they still haven't paid a cent back even 8 years down the road. They've just got this debt. And I mean, the debt's decreasing technically because it's less than inflation. So there's no, they're not in a rush to pay it off. Then thirdly, the actual cost is pretty good. It's pretty damn good. So I think I ended up only paying, it changed over time, but I think it was only like $5,000 a semester. So for 10 semesters over 5 years, like I only had, I think it was about $60,000-$70,000 of debt for medical school, which is pretty amazing. And then it used to be even better too. So then when I graduated, I moved to a place called Townsville, which is in like remote North Queensland. It's classed as remote, but it's not. You're 60k down, yeah. Ugh. From what I hear, the US way that they do things is just like it's a business. It's not about getting people educated. And our system's going that way as well. There was a point here in Australia where it was free. University was just paid for. Crazy. But now we've got like a liberal government, which is, I guess, kind of analogous to the Republican Party that you guys have. Like they very much represent business and unfortunately bigger businesses. So it's kind of there's a lot of privatization happening here. Whereas we're a fairly social kind of country, with a universal healthcare type system. Like anyone can go into an emergency department anywhere and be looked after. And if you're like have a life-threatening problem, that you will have it fixed for you. Which is good. Like it's really good. It's not quite the same as what they've got in Britain, which is that's like the next level. We also have a private healthcare system. So if you need something that isn't life-saving, like a knee replacement, you can pay to have it done, but you do pay a lot of money. But for the education side of things, sorry, what I was getting onto is I went to this area that was classed as remote, but it wasn't. It was like a town of 200,000 people, in the tropics pretty much, like, beautiful weather. And because it was classed as remote, the government paid off, well, they paid me money every year, in addition to my salary, of 20% of my HEX fees. So I got paid $10,000. I think it was about $10,000 a year to work in this place. And that money was meant to go to my HEX debt, but I could just do whatever I wanted with it. But since this other government's taken in, they've scrapped this system that had been in place for so long. The whole idea is just to encourage more medical professionals to go out into rural areas and high need areas. But I managed to get a year or two of it, so that was quite nice. $60,000 down, far out. But IT pays well though. So you wish you studied abroad. Very different kettle of fish. Think. So you need to get these HEX positions are they're like government sponsored ones, so you tend to have to be a domestic student. The international students in my year, it would have been about a third of the students were international, coming from like Malaysia or China or a few other places, and maybe not that many. It was probably about 10% now that I think about it. But they had to pay a huge amount of money to come and study here. Like they got slugged full on. And I guess that's just how they do it. They kind of use those guys to prop up domestic students that go and study. So you're $60,000 down. Is that, and how close to the end and how many years have you been studying for? Like, IT, is that like computer science? Is that like a 4-year degree, or how does it work? Master's degree, 6-year degree. Wow. Okay. See, because that's pretty comparable then, isn't it? $5,000 a term, pretty similar. Although yours is in US dollars, mine's in Australian dollars. But my wife's paid a similar amount. She's a teacher. She did a 3-year arts degree, like in history and English, and then a 3-year masters of teaching. And she had a similar HEX debt to what I had in the end, maybe a little bit less. But it was pretty similar. Pretty similar thing. How far off finishing are you? So is this like your final project that you're coming up on? Yes, that must be exciting. I remember getting towards the end of mine and just being like, I'm a programmer currently doing a stack of development, so I make decent money a year. Wow. So you're making 70K on top of this. That's awesome, man. That's kind of like what I'm doing at the moment. So the way all of our exams work is once you, like med school is kind of like what you go through so that you can speak the same language as everyone else. And you have like a bit of an understanding as to how like these surgical patients are managed, and you understand the language. But then it's when you start doing these specialty studies that's when you really like learn how to do it. And so I'm kind of in the same boat. So I'm working, I'm earning good money, but I'm having to do this on top. So this is, I've got work. I'm doing a night shift tonight from 9 p.m. till 9 o'clock. So it's about 12 hours. Just depends how busy it is. Last night was good. Last night was a good shift. Because it's just emergency stuff, it just depends what comes through the door. Final project, you must be stoked. Hello, pup. Not quite dinner. Say hi, did you? How do you find cramming? So like when you say full stack development, do you mean like full time, like you're working full time and this study's happening on the side? And if so, what have you found good way of managing your time across the two? Because when I studied for my first big postgraduate exam, I worked. And then I came home and I didn't come home, sorry. I stayed at the library at the hospital, then worked and studied for like 2 hours every day after work. Whereas for this exam, I've kind of flipped that and I get up early in the morning. So I get up at like 4 a.m. Obviously night shift and after hours shifts throws that out. But when I'm just doing days, I get up, sort of 2 hours earlier than I need to and study then. And then I go to work and come home and then I'm just done. Full stack, front end and back end. Oh, I see. Right. Look, man, I'm not down with your cool lingo. I'll need to start dropping some medical terms so I can stay hip. Yeah, nice. Hectic lawyer. Hey, man. How's it going? Trying this restream thing. It seems pretty cool. Being able to connect with on a bunch of different, platforms. Sorry, my brain is fried. Yeah. What time is it there? It must be like super early, super late. That helps me. Yeah. Carving out that time. You've got to, don't you? Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks. I'm just knocking out a little bit of study before going off to work for the evening. 3:43 a.m. Jesus. Jeez Louise. What are you... Is this studying? I can't function. Like, I can't learn. I'm tired and it's late at night like that. Like, no matter how much tea, coffee I drink, I just lose the ability to, like, absorb information. Study. It's crazy. Yeah, some people are just night owls, though, I guess. 2:44? What the fuck are you guys doing up? Got class in 4 hours. Jeez, how much sleep do you need? I need like at least 7 hours if I'm gonna be like on my game, properly on my game. I can get away with less, but like if I want to have a good productive day, it's like 7 hours minimum. Less than that, and I just suffer. Finals weeks, I pretty much don't get sleep. What's finals week? Is that like where you have it's just where all the exams are held during that week? Sleep apnea at its finest. I'm lucky if I get 3. What the fuck? What do you do? Do you guys just run on amphetamines or something? God. I mean, I drink a fuckload of coffee. Like I have a serious, like, when I say serious, I mean like a legitimate physiological addiction to caffeine. So if I don't have a coffee in the morning, Sprite and anger. Hang on, do you mean spite and anger, or do you mean like Sprite as in the soft drink? Lots of tea and caffeine. Yeah. That's what I'm at. Yeah, this is actually, yeah. This is I've had tea, Sprite. Oh, so actually Sprite. Interesting. I would have thought Mountain Dew would be better. That's caffeinated, isn't it? I've been drinking lots of coffee. This is actually my School of Medicine mug that they tried to decline me. They said there wasn't enough, so I stole one of the staff members' ones. At the end, they're like, "Oh yeah, so thanks for the last 5 years you spent here. Here's a cup. Oh, you don't get one, Dr. Crush. Sorry, there's not enough." Stole it. Don't tell anyone. As I steal, I don't mean that. Like, it was more just like, it just found its way. Plus, it doesn't help I tore muscles in my leg. Oh, shit, man. How did you do that? Vigorous studying. Vigorous studying so much that you tore muscles in your leg. Fuck. Job. What are you studying at university as well? Hectic lawyer? Studying law? Or is you go through a lot of maths? More so statistics, but not as much as what I'm doing now. Maths wise, like I had to have a good background in maths methods and that kind of thing, but it's not a huge amount of that. Obviously useful. Like you need to know, like you need to know a bit of calculus and how like graphing and things like that. But in terms of like hardcore maths, not so much. Like the hardest math I ever did was in high school. I did like maths specialized. You have to do it. You'd have to do a fair bit, wouldn't you? Computing. Push my body to the limit at work. Too far. You need to warm up more before doing that. Hope it's all right. Jeez. Four years of calculus. Yes, I mean I had to do that I did that in high school. Like I did the highest maths course they took, which was called Maths Specialized, and that's when they start bringing out unreal numbers and matrices and all that other imaginary numbers. Sorry, not unreal. And I'm like, this is stupid. I think 4 people's work because they were running behind on their jobs. But let me guess, they were only paying you one person? Because that seems to be how a lot of employers do it, don't they? Expect more and more and more and more, and then you bust your ass to meet demand, and they're like, "Oh, congratulations for doing so much hard work. Here's more hard work." Sucks. I used to do that as well, but like recently I've just kind of thought, you know what, I plan on working for another 30 years, 40 years, so I need to look after my body, so I've just stopped doing that. And anytime I do like hurt myself, you know, like if I'm moving a patient or something and I twinge my back, I fill out like all the incident forms and everything. Upset its grand. UPS? Oh, UPS. Yeah, right. That's your postal service. They just, yeah. Any company that sees its employees as like a disposable resource, they're not out for long. Non-convulsive status. Excuse me. Yeah, I got a Calc 4 exam on Wednesday, and I'm working on a problem where I have to change the order of integration in the integral. This is why I don't sleep. Jesus Christ, man. Order of integration in the integral. See, those are words that I know that I used to know a while ago, but now it's kind of fallen very much by the wayside. I just don't need to. It's just not that important. Like, we need to integrate graphs occasionally because, you know, if you're, but it's all very much it's all very practical, you know. So like you integrate a graph of flow over time to figure out someone's, or velocity over time to figure someone's cardiac outputs, like how effective the heart's functioning. We do shit like that. And when I say we do shit like that, machines do that for us now. So we just need to know that that happens. I'm glad my supervisor ain't letting you get fired. Fuck that dude. Crazy. I think it sounds like you'd be better off not there, if you ask me. I'd be having trouble with that. Actually, you know, all the TV going on at the moment. Like, I don't know if you guys are Game of Thrones fans. I sure am. Not too bad. It's just the pages of formulas I have to remember. How do you go about remembering stuff like that? Like, for me, flashcards have always been the way. Where it gets a little hard, yeah. $13.50 an hour is what's keeping me there, yeah. But you know, how much are you willing to put on injuring yourself? write it down to the point where I know it. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. So, like, I'm a big believer, and I'm sure they would have told you about this at your uni, about spaced repetition whenever you're studying. So what I can do is, I've got a whole bunch of different question banks of cards. So this is the one I'm working on at the moment, final exam one. And you set how many cards you want to add in every day. So I click on here, and I've got 3 new cards to learn. I've got 4 cards that are to review. I click here, and it says, what solution do I use when I do an eye block? And so I've read this card already. After they pay for my college. Yeah. No, but college degree isn't gonna be good if your body's knackered though, mate. So what I do for this, what solution do you use for an eye block? I say my answer is 1 ml of 10% lignocaine and 4 ml of 0.75% ropivacaine. Mix it up, add some hyalase. That's effectively what my answer is. And so then I can click down the bottom and choose when I want it to repeat it. So I think I did a good job. So I click on good, and it will now show me this card in 3 days' time. But when you first get a new card, so just go through a few of these quickly. Here we go. So this is a new card. Discuss some of the intraoperative issues in thoracic surgery. And I wrote this card a while ago, so I don't remember. So intraoperative issues, thoracic surgery, 1 lung ventilation, potential for blood loss, I guess. I don't know. So here's what I've written before. 1 lung ventilation, shared airway, shared lung, obstruction masses, blah, blah, blah. Heaps of shit, yeah. And so I go, fuck, I had no idea. So I click down here, and it's, again, so in 1 minute's time, it'll show me that card again. Immediate management of maternal collapse. So my answer, ABCs. You need to pull the uterus across to the side so that the baby stops compressing major vessels in mum's body. Your usual resuscitation guidelines. And then lastly, you cut baby out if you haven't got a response within 4 to 5 minutes. So I just copied this page from a book. But as usual, but uterine displacement, intubate them early and deliver the baby. So deliver baby within 4 minutes. So I thought like that was a bit tricky. I missed a bit, so I click hard. And now neuromuscular disorders are classified. Oh fuck, I don't remember this one at all. There is dystrophies and myotonias. And I can't tell you much else. Okay, so they do acquired, hereditary, prejunctional, junctional. There's myotonias. Myotonias are here. So I got a little bit of that one right. Anyway, so I didn't get that at all again. Now, here we go. So it's brought me back to this card, right? Intraoperative issues of thoracic surgery. So I just keep on repeating this card over and over and over again until I get it. And then when I get it, I go, right, 10 minutes. So when I've done a good answer, it shows me it in 10 minutes. And then when that card comes back in 10 minutes time, this 10-minute option will change to 1 day. And so I'll see it again tomorrow, right? And then when I get it tomorrow, instead of being 1 minute, 10 minute, 4 days, it'll be, again, shows you it in 10 minutes. It'll be good, 2 days, easy, 5 days or something. And so it lengthens out the time that you see these cards in. And it does it all by itself. So it's good because it takes away that worrying about how it works from your mind. It just does it for you. There's a way looking at all your statistics. Stats. Here we go. So I kind of took a break from this. That's the problem. I took a bit of a break. So look, you can see here. So day 0. So the last 5 days, on this day here, I learnt, 15 new cards. I had to relearn a couple of cards, and then I had 25 cards that were young, and I redid them. And this is for the day, and then this is the totals, cumulative answers that you've done. How long it takes me each time? Minutes. Cumulative minutes. So it took me 15 minutes to do that day, and this is how much time you're spending overall to answer these questions. New cards you're adding to the deck. So 5 days ago I added 12 cards. Today I've added 4 new cards. And so, I mean, I've only just started getting back into it, so it's a little bit looking. This is an overview of your decks. So at the moment, I've got 4 mature cards, which means that they don't get shown to me for like months at a time. And that's the goal, is you end up with cards that you get shown once every couple of months. And there's actually some science behind this. So you probably have seen these things. The getting curves. These things. The basic idea is you learn something new at this point here. And then if you don't touch on it again, how much you remember drops off. So if you remember 100%, by the end of the day, you've forgotten 50%. Day 2, you only remember 25%, and so on. Drops off massively. But if you get shown it again on the second day, the day after, you only forget 25%. And then if you get shown it again the day after, you forget even less until you just memorize it. So there is some evidence behind it. Herman Ebbinghaus, that's him. That's the man. Look at him. Look at him. What a wizard. Don't see glasses like that anymore, hey? Anyway. Maths behind it as well. What do? I do something similar. Like, for example, I'll find sample questions with the content I'm studying and then write a solution. Yeah, but it's all the same thing, isn't it? Like, you're by getting asked. So you might have noticed too, my cards, I phrase them as like a question. So outline some of the intraoperative issues in thoracic surgery. It's like you're being asked a question. And it seems like you're doing the same thing too. Like, you teach it to yourself and then you find questions so that you have to apply that knowledge. And it's that recall of the knowledge, because it's all about how you engage with it. Because you can read a book like 10 times and it might be very quick, but you do it very superficially. And afterwards you might be like, oh yeah, I knew that. That's how I got to that answer. But it's not until you're tested and you're forced to like recall it, kind of like what you do in an exam, that you actually kind of know, I do know this or I don't know this. You've just sent me something in a different language, haven't you? I do know some of these things. Like, I recognize some of them, but I could not tell you what they mean anymore. I can't interpret this. Cos theta y equals r sine theta xy equals, I don't know what RD is. RD like radial? Beyond my maths. On my maths. Cool, man. But yeah, you should check this program out. It's free. It's a free download. You get the computer version, and then there's a version on. I've got an Android. It's free on Android, but I think you have to pay for it on iPhone. But it syncs across them all. And people put up decks all the time. So like these 2 decks here, which are focused purely on the exam I'm sitting, people have just put them up. And made them up themselves. So you got to be careful the answers are right, but you can just download other people's decks. And this information is always fascinating for me. But yeah, you should check it out. Anki, Anki. and it syncs across your devices, so I can do some cards at home, and then when I go to work in between patients and operations, I can just quickly knock out a couple of cards. While you're on the toilet, instead of going on Reddit, you can do a card or two. It's pretty cool, man. Alright, I just heard the wife get home from a run, so I better go and help cook some dinner or something. It's been nice chatting. Good luck with your paper. That's 70 pages. Fuck, man. 70 pages word count. 35,000 words. Are you serious? Single space, 17,500 double space. A lot of words, man. Words. It's not as bad as you think, you don't reckon? You get to put some diagrams in there, do you? That probably helps. Over an entire semester. Oh, that's good. That's good. That helps. There's a lot of design. Oh, okay. They'd space it out, wouldn't they? That's insane. Well, I better go. Go and start cooking some dinner. It was nice seeing you, dude. Drop by again sometime. Let me know how you go with your exam. So you said you've got an exam this morning. Is that what you said? Oh, class, not an exam. Okay, thanks, man. You too. I'll see you next time.